We'll get into a little bit of your business. But one thing I always like to do when I kick off a show is talk about where a recent stuck in your business has been and how you got unstuck.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
no, I was just so where's a recent stuck in your business and how'd you get unstuck?
I mean, I think a recent stuck that I'm currently in right now is just playing the social media game that comes along
Yeah,
with starting an online training business. And I wouldn't say I'm completely unstuck as of right now, but I'm getting through it. And what I've learned is it just comes down to reps. And
yeah,
mine is specifically on Twitter, and it's just my writing reps. It's day in, day out,
yeah.
just writing and finding that voice that I want to portray on Twitter and seeing what sticks with my audience and the fitness community on there. And so that's
Yeah.
what I've been mainly working on right now.
Yeah. And how I talk a lot about finding your voice on the show. How are you finding your voice? And I agree with you. It takes a lot of repetition to find the voice to see what kind of activates your community. But how have you been finding your voice?
Right now, it's been just by looking at other creators on the platform, people who have done well, and seeing what resonates with me specifically and what doesn't, and finding a good combo of what I believe in versus what they believe in and are teaching me at the same time, and things that I've
Yeah.
learned. So it's just combining my own thoughts with others and bouncing ideas off of others. And the cool thing about Twitter is, like, right now, it's like building a community. So I've been interacting and talking with other people in the same space, my age, older, um, and just like learning essentially and finding what resonates with me.
Yeah, I love it. Think community. We talk a lot about finding your voice on every platform, and so what Hayden's talking about is really important because your voice can change, right, based on products and everything that you're looking at within your business. So don't get complacent. Always be looking for your voice. All right, good. Hayden, thanks for that reminder. That was
Yeah.
great. Let's talk a little bit about what you do for a living. So think community, I'm 51 years old. I have been working out since, my freshman year of college. And at 51, married, two kids, it's really important for me to take a lot of the thinking out of working out, not having to think about what to eat or think about the specific workout that I want to do. So I've been working with Hayden, which has been, it's been great. The program is great. We're going to go into the detail, but all you got to do is you just got to do what's literally typed out in front of you, and it's great. And so let's talk about simplicity, right? And your program on how you really from start to ongoing take the thinking out of what people I think have a hard time having to think about.
Yeah.
So how do you do?
And that the thinking aspect you're talking about is a reason a lot of people don't start in the first place. It's
Yeah,
overwhelming. And so I like taking the overwhelming out of it. So it's just getting everything in front of you. And my business is built on three pillars, and it's fitness, nutrition, and accountability. Um, and so for fitness, I write up the whole regimen for you, the days you do it, and that's all customized based on the equipment that you have available to you, your ability, and prior injuries. We take that into account. Um, so yeah, and we put it all there in a split for you, as I call it, and that can come down to many different variations. And then each workout is lined up, and each exercise has its own video with it to show proper form and how to perform it.
it's great.
And then for nutrition, we do personalized meal plans, and that includes customized based on your preferences in food. Um, and then it comes with a grocery list to also just take the thinking out of that. You can literally just walk into the grocery store and buy everything on there, and easy to cook meals. Um, and then it also comes with Chronometer, which you've experienced and
Yeah,
used. which is a macro and calorie tracking app. And that really just teaches you the breakdowns of the food that you're eating and what I like to call nutritional vision. And that's what I strive to teach. So, like, tracking calories is a great tool to use when you're first beginning or you're getting back on track. But I don't like it as a forever type tool, but it teaches you how to understand what you're eating so you can do it on your own eventually.
Yeah.
And then accountability. We do weekly check-ins, and then everything is tracked, as you mentioned, like on the Trainerize app and Chronometer. So I can check in daily to see how you're doing. And I'll just send a text or a message if seems like you're straying a bit.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. And Think Community, it may have sounded a little overwhelming to some of you, but once it's all packaged in the apps, which I have on my phone, it's so easy. It's so easy. Let's talk a little bit about something you said earlier. This is one of the reasons people don't get started. How much of it is a mental game? Let's just talk about the mindset and just the mental energy that it takes to kind of just begin anything, but this in particular.
I mean, I would say the starting point is 100%. Like, most people I know, if not all, are capable of getting up and exercising for 30 minutes. And like, the range of how hard you work out or exercise is going to range per person, but everybody's capable of getting up and just doing that. So the starting part is, like, I think 100% mental. And that's what I'm here to help with, essentially.
Yeah. So what do you do to help? What do you do to help with that piece of it?
Well, one is encouragement, and two, it's that accountability factor I talked about. And especially if there's incentive to do it, for example, paying me to train you, there's incentive to get up and do that because you're paying for it. And it can be a multitude of things, but paying in this instant is what I can think of. And
I just want to comment on that. I want to comment on that for a second, because I look at it as if you're really investing in yourself.
It's an investment.
It's an investment. Yeah. But it's the investment, and you, as somebody who's paying it, you want the return. And so you can do everything perfectly, which you do. You kind of set everything up in my app, great. But the ROI only comes if I actually do the work. Right.
Exactly.
If I follow the app, or if I'm off on the app, I kind of talk to you and we course correct.
Yeah.
So Think Community, we like in business, we got to take responsibility. All right, keep on going.
And it's like you said, it's that investment in yourself. And sometimes that's still not enough. And it just comes down to hopping on calls and talking through it and figuring out what's stopping you. And like, that's the part I love, is getting to the root and being like, okay, so what's stopping you from achieving what you actually want to achieve? And then we talk through it, and then they can hope. And then slowly sometimes it can be a slow start. Sometimes it's like next day they're in the gym, but either way, if you're going to invest in yourself, I can get you to that result.
Yeah, it's going great for me. Let's talk a little bit about, I just watched a documentary by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Mark Mincolla. He wrote a book, he wrote many, but a recent book called The Way of Miracles. In his documentary, I loved it so much, I actually emailed him, and I'm interviewing him next week on my podcast. But in it, he talks about, people are coming to him with ailments, and he's healing them through nutrition, right? And I know there's a lot of school of thoughts, and I'm not sitting here proclaiming I'm a doctor or anything scientific. I was pre-med in school and dropped out because I failed every class. But I have been going to holistic doctors for a long time. I studied nutrition, and these people, the documentary is amazing, The Way of Miracles. But I want to talk about nutrition on your perspective on how it heals you.
Yeah. And I think nutrition plays such a large role in health as a whole. And I don't know, For me, it seems like the general population has forgot that you can heal yourself and get to the underlying root causes of ailments through nutrition. And it comes down to eating whole, nutritious, organic foods, essentially. And I mean, for me, I eat a lot of meat, fruits, veggies, and simple carbs, um, but or complex carbs rather. But yeah, and that's kind of how I base my meal plans off of, and
Yeah.
healthy fats, of course. And I've seen people lose a lot of weight and build a lot of muscle through this and feel better through and
Yeah.
have more energy through eating like this. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I'm a large believer in eating whole nutritious foods, and but that doesn't mean cutting out all of your favorite foods. I think there
Yeah.
needs to be flexibility, because without flexibility and balance, you're not going to stick with it. And it's
Yeah.
going to be like, okay, I can eat organic and whole foods for what, a month? Like, and that's all I eat. And then you're going to fall off the wagon and you're going to eat, and then you're going to binge. And then it's a downhill, downward spiral from there. So it comes
Yeah.
down to flexibility and eating how you want, but within a certain like range.
Yeah. I love that. So I love candy, Hayden, and I have my cousin loves candy, and so after Labor Day we made a pact that we are not going to eat any candy, not eat any dessert, and no potato chips. And I never even really cared about potato chips until I had kids. But and so and so we took it 30 days at a time, and we text each other every day. And if you eat one of the things, you have to Venmo the other person $5. Um, and but on the first of every month is a free day. The first of
Okay.
every month is a free day, so you can do whatever you want. But was interesting. So I didn't take my free day on the first because I said I'm going to take it for the Friday after Thanksgiving. We're pretty serious about it. And part of what we talked about was one of the reasons we don't do it is the $5 is whatever, but we don't want to have to call the other person and tell them like, hey, I ate a cookie today, or like there's that level of accountability and with a little bit of flexibility in it. But I want to talk a little bit about accountability because it's a word that everybody wants to be better at, but nobody likes it, right? Because it raises the bar. And when you really have an accountability partner, you're really putting it out there. You're really kind of you're making it very real.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk a little bit more about accountability and how people call you and when people can call you, like, hey, I'm about to, eat a cookie, or hey, I'm having a bad day, or, just talk about the power of accountability.
Yeah. And in terms of diet and what, like my program, people are able to text, call me at any point throughout. I give out my personal number, and it's free range. Whenever you have a question, whenever something comes up, you want to talk about something, I'm there to talk. And that's what I love about it. And like getting to know my clients, because that's the only way to truly get them to the place they want to be, is to truly know them and know what's driving them and what's holding them back. And so I'm open all the time for them. And then in terms of uh, accountability in that, it comes down to that chronometer app I was talking about. And just if somebody wants to eat something, I'm like, okay, just put it in the chronometer, track it, and see where it fits on your macros. And
Yeah.
if you're hitting your macros, you're good. But if you're going over, then you know that's a problem. And
Yeah.
you're going to see it be a problem. If you go over there, you're going to not lose as much weight as you want. And so it just comes down to just explaining. And the chronometer is an awesome app. I love it. It sets
Right.
it up almost like a game, like where you have your protein, your calories, your fats, and your carbs, and you
Yeah.
have to like hit each one. And so you're like, okay, I'm here. How do I fit there? And then that helps teach you the breakdown of foods even more, because you're like, okay, so I've finished my carbs for the day, but I
Yeah.
need 20 more grams of protein. How am I going to do that? And then it starts teaching you how to look for foods high in protein. You're like, okay, I can eat that because there's no carbs in it, but it's high in protein.
Yeah, it really does. The other day I ate half an avocado because I was low in my fat, hit my carbs. So I just had just had an avocado, which is great. I don't know if I would have ever eaten just an avocado on a whim, but it was great. It does do that. It does. It kind of gamifies it a little bit. I think a lot of people are always wondering, what gets you to your goal faster, working out or eating? How do you percentage the two? What's more important?
I mean, nutrition is number one.
Yeah.
When losing weight, I mean, it depends what you're trying to do. Because like I help clients reach their fitness goals, whether it's losing weight or gaining muscle, bulking up and gaining strength, or a combo of the two over stages. Um,
Yeah.
so when trying to lose weight, it's nutrition. It
Yeah.
comes down to your calorie. You need to be in a calorie deficit. And that's number one. And then two would be, I mean, I think exercise is important for everyone, and it is,
Yeah.
especially for general health and longevity as well. But I would have to say nutrition and caloric intake would be the
Yeah.
number one.
Number one. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's rewind on you. So you recently, when did you graduate college?
May of this year.
May. So you graduated in May. Just kind of rewind for me what got you on this path.
Well, I mean, I've been a lifelong fitness fanatic. I've been lifting since I was 8. I went from lifting in my basement from like with some free weights to doing CrossFit to competing in powerlifting and strongman competitions to doing more of a bodybuilding type of lifting. So my whole life I've just been lifting weights, exercising, and eating to reach my goals, whatever that may
Yeah.
be at the time I was training for. But I mean, I graduated with a real estate and finance degree. I thought I was going to go straight into real estate and get a job at a large commercial real estate company. But then I had a talk with a friend who graduated a year before or 2 years before me. And he taught me about this path on how you can take your passion and turn it into an online business and monetize it and help other people. And I'm like, that's awesome. And so he's been mentoring me and teaching me everything that I know that comes along with this. And yeah, I mean, we're just in the beginning stages still. I'm still learning, but so far it's been exciting, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah.
Talk to me about the power of mentorship.
You're not going to get anywhere without a mentor, honestly. I think a mentor is the number one way to reach any goal you have in life, whether it's building your physique, building a business, like anything. Mentors are how you get there.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one thing your mentor taught you that, was just really kind of shifted your whole perspective on things? I remember I've had business coaches and mentors, and sometimes you just need to hear kind of that one thing. And I remember when I was getting ready to leave commercial real estate and start my own coaching business, I had met someone, and at the very end of our conversation, they said to me, if you do nothing, you'll regret it. And so I just fast forwarded my life with that sentence, and it helped me get really grounded and make a decision. What ultimately was the final decision for me to leave commercial real estate was a mentor called me and said, "Hey, I heard this quote that I thought you would enjoy. It would mean something to you. Success without fulfillment equals failure." Tony Robbins. I love the quote so much. My book that I wrote is actually, the whole foundation is that quote. But it were those moments from mentors that really helped kind of get me on my path, get me in alignment with what I wanted to do. So what was something like that for you?
It was less of a sort of a one-liner, is more of a story that he told me about himself. He was in the same sort of predicament I was in, like about to graduate college, applying for all of these jobs where you're going to go sit in an office and, work for 40 to 60 to 80 hours a week. And he was just really getting stressed with everything. And it was very overwhelming. And he wasn't happy with what was going
Yeah.
on. And someone reminded him like, "Hey, you don't have to go down this path." And he was like, "Whoa, I never even decided to think about that till
Yeah.
just now." And that someone reminded him that, and then he reminded me that. Because
Yeah.
I was getting stressed. I was applying to all these companies, I was preparing for interviews and like I wasn't hearing back. And then I just wasn't that happy and I was getting stressed about the whole thing. And he's like, "Hey, you don't have to do that if you don't want." And I was
Yeah.
like, and it was just crazy to think that because like it was a realization that like everybody thinks there's like a design path for them.
Right.
And there's not. Life is full of choices and you can make any one you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And it's interesting when you really, I'm just going to expand on a thought from that story. When you think about it, right? So let's say somebody is graduating college and they get a job for $100,000, which definitely sounds, and it is a lot of money. I'm not taking away from it. But the average person works between 2,000 and 2,400 hours a year. And so if you take the $100,000 and you divide it by 2,000 hours, it's $50 an hour. And so when you're starting a business, if you can just figure out a way to make $50 an hour for 2,000 hours a year, or if you have to admin work 1,000 and work 1,000, just figure out how to get paid $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So it's to make the same amount while building something that you are more fulfilled with. So, a lot of times people get very stressed about it, but when they really look at the numbers, a $50,000, if you're making $50,000 a year and you're working 2,000 hours, you're really making about $25 an hour.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so it just opens up people's eyes a little bit.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
one of the realizations I had too. And just to like add to that, like you say, you're getting paid like $25 an hour once you break down all that math. And you're like, well, I can start a business where I get paid $26 an hour.
Correct.
And you're like, why wouldn't
Right.
I just like it's the better option? Like,
Right. But let's talk about courage for a minute,
yeah.
because, a lot of people think like you think. A lot of people think like how I just talked about. But, and many people will say, well, when I'm confident enough to do X, I'll do X. But it really takes a lot of courage to do your own thing. It takes a lot of courage to start something that you do have the startup time, right? You're not making the initial, jolt of in our previous examples, 50 or 100,000. You're probably eating more, ramen noodles that people eating, in the beginning. So how did you have the courage to actually jump in and do it?
Well, I was very lucky. I have a place to stay and I was able to save up money throughout college and high school working. So I have like a little bit of a safety nest in terms of that. But it just comes down to like the best time to start was 5 years ago, and the next
Yeah.
best time is today. And
Yeah.
so you got to just start. And you can work a job part-time or full-time and work
Right.
on your own business at the same time. You're going to work more hours, yes, but eventually you'll be able to transition slowly, hope if you do it right, into your own business and then just
Yeah.
do that full time. So it's not like you have to just jump into the deep end and start something on your own, but take an hour out of your day and start working on something and
Yeah.
then push that to 2 and then 3, and it starts interfering with like other work. See if you can modify the amount of time you're doing the other work.
Yeah.
And especially if the money's right, if you're making money doing that and you're starting to grow, I don't know, it makes sense to slowly transition to that if that's your goal.
It's great. Thanks for that. Let's talk about, I want to go back a little bit and talk about, you're putting everything in the apps, you're consulting with your clients, you're meeting with them on a weekly basis, you're available for them when they need you, your accessibility is high, which in my opinion, I'm the same way as a business coach. I return, unless I'm sleeping, every call, text, email, same day. I think accessibility is quintessential in any business. But but I think if we rewind what's in the apps and everything that you do, it really requires people to get into a routine.
Yeah.
It requires people to get into routine. So talk a little bit how you suggest and guide your people get into a routine.
Well, one, it comes down to me scheduling their routine for them because they're not going to know how to do it themselves at first. So everything's built out in the Trainerize app, and it's literally a calendar of your week, and I put the things in you need to do, and you're able to just check them off. But then it comes down to, like, at the beginning, like, I'm going to be more hands-on. We're going to be talking every other day. I'm be like, how was that workout? And, like, slowly I'm going to be able to give you more space because you're going to get into that routine and, like, be able to do it on your own. But at first it's just like, it's kind of just like hand holding and being like, okay, today we're doing legs. Like, enjoy your leg workout and let me know how it goes after. They talk to me after, and the next day I'm like, okay, today we're doing push day and we're doing 5,000 steps. Let me know how that goes. And it's just talking them through the process and talking them through the routine to the point where they're like, they own their routine. It's not a routine I gave to them. It becomes their routine and they own that. And then from there, they can decide their own routines once you really learn. And that's what, like, I love about my program that I'm teaching. I'm teaching people how to create their own, how to understand the foods they're eating, how to work out, and how to understand what exercises hit what muscles and for what reasons, and how to build your own routine essentially.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And I think community, it's really important. I talk a lot about this. I do, Hayden, I'm a business coach, but I also do keynotes and trainings. And a popular one that I do is about time management. And typically when I get to the part where I talk about routines, I would say maybe, and it doesn't matter how big the audience is or how small, maybe 5 to 10% of people have routines. Maybe. So think community. What I talk about though is when things aren't natural, you just gotta over time block yourself. You gotta structure yourself and use your calendar, because if it's not natural, you gotta hire somebody to guide you to what you need to do. Otherwise, it's just harder to do. I think it's hard to do even when you are motivated and know what to do and even have the equipment, right? I mean, I have a gym, I have some equipment, but it's just too much thinking for me to have to put together the workouts and think about this and that. So think community, if you want it made easy, think about, hiring someone to just make it easy for you. I want to talk about, you said earlier about making a choice, right? We all have kind of the ability to choose and make a choice. I'm a big believer that when you are in alignment, everything kind of flows. Everything is the action just kind of takes care of itself. And when you're in an adjustment period and out of alignment, things are a little bit more difficult. But when you're in alignment, the universe just kind of starts flowing things your way. They pick up on the energy of it. How did you know that this was alignment for you? Like, what did it feel like, right? Because I think a lot of people are trying to figure out and find that feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a call. That's what it was for me. It happened to be a call to this guy I haven't talked to in years, who graduated before me, who was older. And one day I was just like, I wonder what he's up to. Cause I was like in that process of applying for jobs and whatnot. And I called him and he taught me all about this. And 4 months later, I'm building my own business with him as a mentor and you, and the stars are just aligning. It just comes down to,
But wait, hold on, go back up. So, because I think a lot of people, time is moving very fast. Mm-hmm. I think that time feels like it's moving so much faster post-COVID. For some reason, it just feels fast. Like if somebody told us right now that it's really April 27th, we would like have to think twice about it, right? It's like it doesn't. And so So a lot of people are so busy and so distracted and so stressed out and so overwhelmed that when they get that, I wonder what, is up to. Many people don't actually pick up the phone and call, or pick up the phone, or do whatever is in that space, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see that person over there. I should go say hello. And that encounter could be something that completely shifts everything. And so I want to know, what was what was, you said it was a call, but what was the calling in the to actually push you to pick up the phone?
It kind of just came from it was really random, honestly. And that's what I love about life, is it's random, and
Yeah.
random things will happen, and you kind of just got to go along with the random, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because
Yeah.
everybody, like, I love structure and I love routine, but when curveballs are thrown, which they will, and
100%. Yeah.
you kind of just got to go with them, and you don't know
Right.
where it will take you, and sometimes it takes you to really awesome places.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like,
Right. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's you gotta, like, because I can be very structured and then completely not structured.
yeah,
But the universe is going to throw things, and you got to be willing to act on them. You got to be willing
yeah,
to act on them. I would look at what happened to you as kind of a whisper from the universe, that if you had waited, it would have been a yell, right?
yeah,
And by the time it gets to yell, it's not as fun, because then you're at
mhm,
a crossroad. Yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah. That's great. That's great. And so you pick up the phone. I just want to kind of go through this, because Think Community, so many times people ask me, or I talk about this with clients, and it's like these moments of instincts that can make a really big impact in our world and in our lives. When I was 23, I've shared stories on this podcast occasionally. When I was 23, I started an internet company with my brother and a buddy. And my parents were, we started in my parents' basement, June of 1995. My brother and I were sharing a bedroom, living at home. It was a blast. And I was 23, and my parents went to a concert downtown at the Fox in Detroit. And they randomly were at dinner and randomly ran into somebody who happened to be working at Greektown and running a bunch of stuff at Greektown in Detroit. And my dad got them to call us. They became a client, and that was a huge spider of evolution moment of us growing our company. That random concert, dinner, run into, etc. Right? And it was just great. And so I love that story. Just as you were talking about random, I think we all have to be open to more random stuff, but we gotta listen to it, and then we gotta act on it. Yeah. I love it. I love it. What's another random thing that happened to you
Let's think.
to help you grow your business?
Random. I mean, kind of just like explaining like what I do to people. People were like would ask, and I'd like explain, just like merely just tell them what I do.
Yeah.
And I got my first clients through those, like you for one of them. Like you
Yeah.
were like, what do you guys do? And I
Yeah.
was just explaining what I do, not trying to sell, not trying to
Right.
do
Yeah.
anything, but just explain. And like the clients kind of just started to fall into my lap.
Yeah.
And which was
Right.
like how, like what, I just started this business randomly, and then I
Yeah.
randomly like meet you, and like now you're helping me through this, and I get to take you on as one of my clients. It's like,
Yeah.
how does that happen?
It's cool. It's fun. It's fun. It's been great. Yeah. Just kind of the universe a lot of times has bigger plans for us than we think.
Definitely.
And I'm all for, and I talk a lot and do this a lot, business planning and preparing and organizing. But there's a piece to everything, business and life. You got to kind of surrender to the universe, because they're gonna put things in your path that you got to just pay attention to. You got to pay
Yeah,
attention to. Yeah.
exactly.
All right, let's do a quick speed round, Hayden. A book, a TED Talk, or a quote that's your favorite that had
I
an
would
impact on you.
I would have to say my quote that my business is kind of built upon is, it's a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. I read that once a while ago and it just stuck with me.
Yeah. Socrates.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you ever see Bill and Ted's Bill, did you ever see Bill and I'm dating myself, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's like a great comedy. I made my kids watch it, and anyway, they call them Socrates in it, but it's yeah, that's a great one. All right, best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Just start. Just start. Like, just do it and like see what comes of it. You know, what more bad will come from not starting than starting.
Yeah. Finish a sentence. One thing everybody needs to do to take their fitness to the next level is
take accountability, invest in yourself.
It's great. It's great. Tell everybody, Hayden, where they can connect with you, learn more, or call about your services.
Yeah, you can go to my Twitter. It's just at HaydenNickamin.com, or not .com, but at Twitter, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go to my Twitter. Feel free to shoot me a follow. Feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm happy to talk.
You want to give your cell?
Sure. It's at 970-274-9961. Shoot me a text or a call anytime. I'll pick up. I'll respond.
It's great. Think community. I love this show. I love this podcast. I work with, as a business coach, people all over the globe who are successful and stuck. And I get to have a podcast where not only do I learn a lot, but I get to have guests who also can give you information to get you unstuck. Hayden, you shared a ton of great stuff today. I'm grateful for all of it. I just want to extract a couple of things. One in particular, that be open to randomness, and we all have a choice. That choice may not happen overnight, but we can all kind of set course and plan and map out to find what we're in alignment with. So always be on the evolution of yourself to find it. Hayden, any closing thoughts?
Take action. Like I said, the best time to start was 10 years ago. The next best time is today. So start today with whatever you want to do with your life.
It's great. All right. If Hayden can reach you, if Hayden can help you, reach out to him on a cell phone or on Twitter. And if I can help you, you can check my website out at johndwoskin.com. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. This was great, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.